Hi everyone, thanks to this episode of the Keegan Times. On this episode, we have a sensational guest. We have Andrew Minott. Andrew is a Jamaican-born author, promoter, producer, and music consultant. Andrew has released his autobiography that is currently number one on Amazon, which is incredible, called Prove 'Em Wrong. Welcome, the multi-talented Andrew, and thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Glad for
Uh,
having me here.
You're very welcome. How's it all been going over there?
Everything's going great. It's pretty sunny right now. Actually, it's getting dust up right now, but it's everything is good though.
Whereabouts are you located?
I'm north of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, like city called Coconut Creek. I'm like between Fort Lauderdale and Boca Raton. So I'm like right a little bit north of Miami, about 25, 30 minutes north of Miami.
Beautiful. Yeah, I was in Miami last year. After next time I go there, I love Miami and I love Florida, so I have to come up there and check it out.
Yeah, you should. It's always a nice place. And the weather's gonna start getting warm now. It's I like it when it's kind of cool, like in the 70s. I like that. I hate when it's 90s and all that, high 80s. So
Yeah, for sure. All right. Let's just jump straight into it. Take us back. Tell me about your journey, how it all began for you, and yeah, what it was like growing up as well.
yeah, basically, growing up in Jamaica, it was like, you know, I did what I was told. Basically, I grew up in the environment like I was raised by my grandparents, and it was very regimented. Basically, they said I did. There was no back talk, no arguments. I just did what I was told to do, and I just had to do it. I didn't have any leeways to do everything. You know, I would get certain offers like promises, which the book tells that they were broken. But you know, my grandparents are your grandparents. They raised you the way they see fit, and that was just how life was. But as far as like, I was never hungry and anything like that. But I grew up very strict. I didn't have any leeway. Kids had to be like seen and not be heard type of thing. Like, so basically that was what it was.
Awesome. And tell me what Jamaica means to you.
Jamaica is everything because basically that's where my roots are. Even though I don't have a lot of family there now, because most of my family here, I have cousins and uncles and stuff in Jamaica. Um, but I don't really have a lot of family like, and pretty much where everything began. My grandparents, you know, I was raised by them, my mom. We stayed in outside Montego Bay. So that was my foundation. I went high school there, went all through high school, left high school and came here to the States. So to this day, Jamaica has always been the mainstay for me. Even when it came down to the point where my whole roots, my upbringing, and everything that with me, Jamaica is like the highlight of everything in my life.
And do you go back to Jamaica?
Yeah, I was there. Ironically, I was there a few months ago because my brother that I wrote about in the book, he just passed away last June, and I went back to check out the house that we have there. So it was just one of those situations and stuff. And I also wrote in the book, my cousin, the late great Sugar Minott, the reggae icon, he passed away back in 2010. So there's a lot of things that still go back to Jamaica and I gravitate towards. And pretty much this is why this book came about because of how my upbringing and everything was in Jamaica.
Right. All right. Tell me about the wonderful new book, Proven Wrong. Tell me about that. And I guess the context. Yeah, elaborate on that.
Yeah, Proven Wrong, it came about to detail my life growing up without a father figure in my life. Mom, as I said in the book also, I never had a father. My grandparents raised me, so my father, I saw him prior to me coming to the States at 18. I saw him maybe 5 times. So he was never there. And then the outlook on my life, not having a father figure and how I continue with my life and becoming a father and the things I had to do and the things I gave my sons and what I promised not to let my sons think of me the way I thought of my father. Because I always want to make sure I was there for my sons not like the way my father wasn't there for me. So, and I try to break that stigma that, especially like black fathers are never there for their kids, and they're not there, and they're absentee fathers and all that. And a lot of people, like if you can detail it in prison, are kids from broken homes, not have a father around and stuff like that. So I always want to make sure that I change that perspective and that whole narrative that we're not there as fathers for children and all that. So the book details my fatherhood and how important it is for us as fathers, whether you're a single father or not, to be there for your kids and make sure you have a strong presence in their lives. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's really, I guess, sensational. Tell me, what do you believe, in your opinion, the solution is to obviously, what you're talking about, the stigma, how the fathers aren't there for the kids in broken homes, anything relating to that. What do you think the solution is for that in the future?
It's it's basically persevere through everything. Because I know, because even the book I detail about my last son, that because his mom and I don't have a relationship, and that tends to play a role. So I know a lot of fathers because I have a lot of friends that pretty much, if when they don't have a relationship with their mom anymore, with that partner anymore, she takes the child away from them, and I understand that. And sometimes you can't get away from that, but we have to fight through it. And sometimes partners get bitter. Like you break up and you have a bitter breakup, and then the father like, you know what, I don't need this, and then the kids get hurt because even through my divorce with my ex-wife, I told her she couldn't hurt me. You only can hurt the boys, and that's the thing that you should never do. And I try to tell her all the time that, you know what, you have to make sure that no matter what, the kids come first. So if we as a society can actually make sure that the children come first, no matter what, put our differences aside. No matter what, we have problem with each other. Okay, we have problem. We talk as adults, but make sure the children don't become a product of that, and then they see things that we go through as parents, and then that reflects on their lives. So we have to try to change that stigma. And I know it's easier said than done, but the adults have to be adults in this situation and make sure that, you know what, we can't let our differences make the child suffer for that.
Great opinion. In where you are now in life compared to obviously when you were born, has it changed a lot? Like, has it got a lot worse or better?
It's gotten better in the sense of we're grown now. We're more like, I had a different perspective on because of my military background and everything else, and I I was with like the things I did at 18. I see men now at 30, they're not doing those things. I was very self-sufficient and very independent because that's what my grandparents raised me. So I know, like when I say that, like my friends, they said you can't compare your life now to how kids are now because everything is so different now with the technological, the era now of computer age. We didn't have that growing up, so it's different now, and I understand that. But the true values are still there, though. So we have to keep those values intact to make sure that we can bring this across. Because at the end of the day, we still got to do what's right. We have to do what's right.
Brilliant. Tell me about your time in the military. What was that like? And what was that experience?
It was it basically the military raised me in the sense of I joined when I was 18 years old, so I was very influenced. It was very influential in the sense of it influenced me in everything that I did, because you're talking about an 18-year-old kid. Like now, people are kids are still in school up to age 19. And at 18, I was in boot camp. At 19, I was getting ready to go to the Persian Gulf. At 20, I was on an aircraft carrier in the middle of the Persian Gulf, seeing all these different Russian planes, the Iranian. I was going through all these things at age 20. So I told a lot of people this. I said, I've experienced things at age 21 that people don't see in their lifetime. So the military really put this thing on me that I'm very aware of my surroundings, try to be aware of what goes on around me and basically be caring, be careful of things that you do. But I was still naive in the sense of I grew up so fast, but the military basically raised me at a very quickly. So I didn't get to see things like that I should have seen, like as a normal kid be growing up, like go through the regular routine in your life as a normal kid. You're talking about being in the military on an aircraft carrier, but servicing warplanes at age 19. It's not the same as a lot of people experience.
Yeah, definitely. Um, all right, tell me about being a producer and the music. I guess that you're a consultant that you do. Tell me about that. And has music always been a part of your life?
It wasn't. I always loved music though. Like in the book, I detail about my cousin Sugar Minott when I was like not little, but I was like 17. I wanted to go see a concert with him, and basically I saw that, and basically when I went to college, like throughout when I was in California, I was always around people that had had sound systems and being music. Like I detail in the book also that I met Shaggy, or Shaggy was also in the Marine Corps when I was in the Navy, and he was stationed in Camp Pendleton in California also. So I was always driven towards that. And then when I went to college, I met a friend that was a singer, and I got to get around the music. Then I went to Jamaica and hooked up with my cousin Sugar Minott, and he taught me things. And then I started doing production. And from then I went into concerts. So basically the concert was what drove me because I enjoy that, like putting things together, getting events. Like when I put in the book that I was the first promoter to bring Sean Paul to the US. The first time Sean Paul ever performed in the US, I brought him here. So that was a very monumental in the sense of not even his manager had belief in Sean like I did. So I was really proud of that moment.
What did you, I guess, see in Sean Paul?
Was that?
What did you see in Sean Paul that like made
Yo,
you?
oh, you know what it was? He had two songs at the time out because he wasn't known. It was like 97. He had two songs, one called Baby Girl, Don't Cry No More. I won't try sing it. And the song Infiltrate. Infiltrate is on the same track as the Beanie Man song Sim Simmer. I was like, yo, that's pretty good. And because it was my first show, I said maybe if I can break in another artist that nobody really knows, then you know what? People can look and say, you know what? I think forward. I just don't do everything that everybody else is doing. So I saw that I was like, and I pulled up at a payphone and I detailed in the book and I called his manager. And his manager was like, okay, I'm coming to Miami. I'll meet you. And when I showed him the flyer with Beanie Man, Capleton, Lady Star, he was like, why you want Sean for a show? I felt I had more confidence in Sean than his own manager did because I said, look, I think Sean will do good. He was like, I was trying to convince him to have Sean on the show, and a manager should do the opposite. But it was just one because at that time Sean didn't even travel with a road manager. He traveled by himself. He was like a virtually unknown, and that was what launched his career. After that, like a couple of weeks later, someone brought him back to Miami, and then he started performing. And a couple of years later, Give Me the Light came, and that was it. The rest is history.
Superb. And tell me about what else or who else have you promoted, and what was that experience like?
There's every reggae artist that you can think of I've promoted because I've brought Vibes Cartel. A lot of people know Vibes Cartel. The first time he ever came to Miami, I brought him here. So I've Beanie Man, Bounty Killer, Movado, Elephant Man, all these artists. And I've toured. I've done like road managers and I've done like tour manager in Europe with artists like Jack Cure, DeMarco. I've been to Ghana with DeMarco. I've been to South Africa and Zimbabwe with Red Rat. I've been to France with Jack Cure, with Movado, with Shaka Demus and Pliers. There's not one reggae artist I've not worked with in some form or fashion. I've worked with basically everybody. So, it was one of those things that it seemed like I was destined to do. So I was proud of that moment though. So, I'm glad of that.
Tremendous. And I saw your book too is number one on Amazon. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, like in the Caribbean and Latin American literature, I was blown away by that. I didn't even I had no words. Like someone in one of the reviews that someone gave me, they said they bought the book by mistake. But when they did, it was like God sent because it helped them to understand their own father the way because the experiences I had with my own father, and they was like, wow. And I was like, I'm just grateful that I can help somebody else. And I never intended because when I started to do this book, I'm a very private person. I try stall and stall because my whole life is on front page. So basically everybody, you know, can see my life. And I was basically very, very private all the time. But now I let it out. But at the end of the day, if I can help somebody get through a hard time and understand life, I'm fine with that because you know what? I'm good with helping others right now.
Yeah, that's an incredible, I guess, achievement. I guess in the fact that you're being vulnerable and opening up, your personal life and your experiences. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. Um, what was the journey like writing the book? Like, how was that experience?
It was really tough because I wrote initially, because my cousin, he did, he was an icon in reggae music and he discovered a lot of artists like Sugar. He discovered Musical Youth, those kids in the 80s, Pastor Dutchy, that song Tenor that Ring the Alarm, Junior Reed. He's done so much. And when I found out a lot of things that he did, I said, you know what, you need to write a book. And he never wanted it because he never wanted praise. And after he passed, I thought that, you know what, I wish he had done that. But then I got talked into writing my story. I was like, why someone want to hear my story? Nobody cares about. I'm not known like that. But then as I spoke more to like Mr. Ellaby, he told me, you know what, you need to write a book. And the more I was writing it and I see how in depth it was getting in my private life, I was very hesitant. Believe it. I kind of stopped for a few months, said, man, I want to do this. I don't really want to do this. I'm putting my life out there because I've always been very private, always been very private. And for me to actually come out and write this, it's like, it's gut wrenching at times. It's really gut wrenching, but it's something that I feel proud of. I've accomplished a lot because I was never an author. I never set out to do this and being number one in the Caribbean, Latin American literature and Amazon. I'm like, wow, it must be a godsend for me to do this,
Yeah, for
you
sure.
know,
Yeah, you're definitely on an upward trajectory. That's for sure.
I know, definitely.
All right. Tell me, what inspires you daily?
What inspires me? Life. My kids. Um, Knowing that I can help raise my sons to be men. I can help others to be worthy. Just life on a whole to go out. And I've always said that, you know what? Every day above ground is a great day. And just to see my sons, my daughter grow up and become grown-ups and live a fruitful life, that inspires me every single day. I've always said to everyone, you can't hurt me. I've lived my life. I've been there, done that type of thing. Matter of fact, when I went to Australia, that's the first time I saw a shirt like that. Been there, done that, and I bought a T-shirt, and I got that done. So I basically want to just influence others and make sure that you know what I can do that. I can accomplish that.
Yeah, that's
Hold on,
incredible.
it's getting dark a second. Hold on one second. Yes, bright enough.
There you are. Very, very bright now.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that I can influence others and have a fruitful life and a good life. And that's all that matters. That's all that matters right now. Live your life to help others. And that's what inspires me right now.
Brilliant. Um, have you had any mentors in your life?
Excuse me again?
Have you had any mentors in your life?
Yes. My cousin Sugar Man was a huge mentor. Um, I always want to make sure that, and he has always helped a lot of people. And that's why I looked up to him a lot because he has always, even I was talking to some artists, a few reggae artists the other day, And he said, "Yo, Sugar Minott, man, he's always helped everybody. He's never turned away anyone. Someone wanted help, he helped them." So he was one of my biggest mentors of all time, because I always looked up to him. And basically, the regular routine that everybody would say, like, I looked like and Bob Marley. Well, basically, though, I never had a father to say, yeah, I look up to my father as a father figure, but he wasn't there. So Sugar Man was my biggest mentor. He was my mentor, my inspiration, and he let me understand how this music industry is. And, you got to give back. Because he told me, if you don't truly love this business, don't do it. Because the craziness and the wickedness and everything, like the corruption in music, if you don't really truly love it, it will really hurt you. So you have to like go in it with the right whole frame of mind, and you'll be fine. And that's what I learned to do.
Tremendous. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice I ever received was do what you truly love to do. Do what you truly love to do, and make sure you do it wholeheartedly. Um, always have respect. It's just one of those things though, but I always look at my life and said, I always try to give back. That's why I even have this foundation that I give back to underprivileged and abused kids, because I always try to give back no matter what it costs. And I've always helped people throughout the book. I talk about, a mentee of mine. He's now at Yale University. He came from Ghana and he was in a bad situation. And I helped him, basically took him in since he was like 13, 14 years old, helped him and everything else. Now he's a junior at Yale. So that's all these things. If I can help somebody have a good life, I'm good with that. I never expect something in return. It's always good. Sugar Man taught me that. He said, don't expect anything in return, but you get it. It's always a blessing, but always give, and you will always get it back some way, somehow. And I try to do that. No matter what it is, I always try to do that and make sure that there is room in my heart that I can always give back to people.
Great. And what would be the best advice you would give somebody?
Stay true to yourself. Be honest, have integrity, keep your word. That's so important now. It's like, in the book when I wrote about when I got in trouble, and I won't spoil it for the people that don't have the book yet, but when I was in trouble and I could have saved myself, and I chose not to go that route because the integrity, and I wasn't going to I made a mistake and it's on me. Even though I was deceived and I was lied to, I stopped it with me. The same way with my kids, with my father not being there. And I could be like the easy way out and said, you know what, I'm not going to be there for my sons either because my father wasn't there for me. So you know what, forget that. I end the cycle right there. I choose not to perpetuate that cycle. So the same way I end that, I chose not to continue with when I got in trouble to throw someone else under the bus. So I say, you know what? I'm going to ride this out and have integrity and have dignity, So I rise above everything. Like they said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I'm always going to be a man of my word, no matter what it is. So I always try to tell people, just be honest and keep your word. That means so much to everyone. Once you keep your word and someone knows where you're coming from, it'll be fine. Disappointments are hell. And I wrote about that a lot in the book, disappointments. And I hate to disappoint people and I hate to be disappointed. So that's just what it is.
It's wonderful. And what does the future look like? What are you working on apart from the book that you've released? What else? What are your plans for the future?
The future. Wow, my future's here right now. I'm still helping kids. I still work in marketing. Right now, I'm pretty much, sorry about that. Right now, I'm And matter of fact, funny enough, you say that. Two girls came over from Ghana a few weeks ago. They're like 11 and 13. They play basketball. The 11-year-old, she's 6'6", and the 13-year-old, she's 6 feet, and they have nowhere to stay. And the guy called me Friday and said the people they're staying with is kicking them out on the street. What could I do at that point? I was like, man, I had to go get them, and they're staying in my house right now as we speak. So I'm taking them to the gym. So I'm always trying to help no matter what it is. And I know when people start seeing these girls, they be like, oh, they can exploit and be beneficial for them because they're going to be great basketball players. But I don't look at it like that. I look at it like they're someone's child. They need help. They need assistance. And if I can do that, I'll do that. So basically my life now is basically I look to still helping people, helping kids especially, market this book and take it where it takes me. So if this book gets marketed to the point where it's a bestseller and I can influence others too, and I can put back into helping kids because that's what I really enjoy doing. I love giving back to kids and make sure that they're protected.
Yeah, you're doing great work. It's truly remarkable. And apart from everything else in your, I guess, busy life with everything that you've discussed, what are your hobbies and passions?
Hobbies and passion, playing soccer. I love playing soccer. As we say, football.
Yeah.
So I still play with a lot of my friends like Saturday. I used to play a lot, but I have a lot of ankle injuries for my time in the Navy and everything else and through college. But I always play soccer. My passion is like, playing soccer a lot. I used to play seven days a week, but now I play like once or twice. Age has caught up on us all. And music. I listen to a lot of music still. I have a lot of friends that they're producers. So I go to the studio. I have this, I used to have this artist, this rapper that I work with, but a lot of artists, I'd be consulting because a lot of people come to me for advice and I send them to like producers I may know. So I still try to like do that, but that's my passion now though. Like sports, I watch sports all the time. So basically sports. And as I say in the book, I helped my nephew. My nephew just got drafted in the NBA. So, I'm also a basketball fan. So I've helped him, play for the Minnesota Timberwolves as a rookie. So I watch a lot of sports, but my passion is basically sports and music.
Cool. Cool. We've got the Women's FIFA Soccer 2023 going to be in Australia and New Zealand this year.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
I was like, I would love to be there though,
Yeah, it's going to be a vibe, that's for sure. The whole world's going to be watching. So yeah,
it's always a vibe. I was actually at the World Cup in '98 in France when Jamaica qualified.
Yep.
I was in France for those World Cups. Yep, I was there.
Incredible. All right. If you were 18 again and you could go back in time and change anything personally or professionally, what would you change?
Wow. Man, there's so many things I would change. When I first came here, when I joined the Navy, I would make sure that, I got the job rating I really wanted to do. I would have made sure that no matter what happens, like when I got in trouble, I would have changed that. Even though that has made me the person I am, and I understand that, I would have changed that. I would have made that mistake. I wouldn't have gone that route. And as I detail in the book, I would know what Bitcoin was because I could have been a billionaire right now. When people read the book, they will see what I'm talking about because I had the chance to do some Kevin Hart shows, and this was before. But I knew Kevin Hart was going to be huge, but he was on the threshold of being as big as he is. And I went to an investor, and he offered to pay for it in Bitcoin. This was 2011, 2012. I was like, what the hell is Bitcoin? Nobody knew what it was. And the guy said, I got thousands of them. I can give you. I said, so if you give them to me, what am I going to do with it? And that's why I asked him, and he was like, and he didn't really know. And I asked everybody, and nobody really knew what it was. Fast forward, if I had all those Bitcoins now, I'd be a billionaire right now. But that's one thing. That's one thing I could definitely change, because then I could truly help a lot. Because that would be what I would actually do. I would love to like have a facility to help kids, especially in those neighborhoods where kids need this help and their parents don't have the time or the money to help them. That's what I would definitely do. I would really like to help children a lot, inner
That's a good,
city areas especially.
yeah, for sure. That's a great story. That's wonderful. Um, Andrew, thanks for coming on the podcast. I do appreciate it. I've really enjoyed interviewing. I think it's incredible what you've done and the book and yeah, everything in the future.
Yeah, especially see, I have it right here.
I love
Yes,
it. I love
everybody
it.
can get it. Just go to Amazon. You can go to Amazon and get it. And actually on my website also, I have a website, www.anchorminott.com. Anchor and my last name, minott.com. And you can get although you see the reviews, you see interviews, you see all the concerts I've done in the past, from when I was doing all those shows and everything else. When I was in Dubai, I was there with Jack Cure and all these things that I've done. Been there, done that. So you can
You've
learn
lived
all
a full life. You've
about
lived
me.
a full life.
Yes, I sure have. I've been blessed to do that. So, and that's why I share a lot of this in the book.
Great. All right. Well, have a great evening and thank you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome.